Gotta get my notes ready. Let's see, supper's ready, foxtrot, we'll do that in a second. So for now, supper's ready. What's up guys, welcome back to Just JP. My name is Justin, and we are finally here with my final thoughts video for Supper's Ready. A few things really quickly just before I begin and get into it. First off, if you've landed on this video and you haven't watched my other videos and my other first listens of the rest of Foxtrot, then leave here if you're and go watch those videos so you can get my at the moment initial thoughts on each of those songs from this album, Foxtrot. I'm also going to be looking at Supper's Ready alone at first, and there's going to be a separate video for my final thoughts on the whole album of Foxtrot. So if you're here from that video, then this is strictly for Supper's Ready, and if you want to hear the rest of Foxtrot and my final thoughts on it, that'll be over there where I focus more on the other songs rather than Supper's Ready. Because Supper's Ready, while it is the magnum opus of Foxtrot, I didn't want it to eclipse the other songs in which there's also so much work and passion from the band. And there's a lot of gems over there in the rest of the album. And I don't want that to be overshadowed by Supper's Ready. So that's why I decided to kind of do two videos. I also want to take just a quick second and thank you guys so much for watching, for your patience. I've had to work a lot between when I finished my album Listen to Foxtrot originally and this video. And when it came to these videos in which I put just a little more effort and a little more thought involved or into it, I didn't want to just do it just to get it out there for you guys. It's been like a month at this point. I waited, I gave it time. Of course, I listened to the album, this song, over and over and over. And of course, thank you guys so much for the Supper's Ready video. On that video, I just posted a comment if you guys had wanted to donate. I never mentioned it, but I wanted to thank you guys so much for that because I actually did order batteries, rechargeable, that will help me not to buy so many like regular AA batteries. I bought some from Amazon, they should be on the way. It'll save me a lot of hassle in the long run going forward. Let's talk about Supper's Ready. Now, I actually found it really hard writing an outline for this video because I feel like everything that I felt about Supper's Ready, I kind of said in the very first video I did for it on my initial listen. The song is perfect. It's the best song I've heard from Genesis besides Fourth or Fifth. It's an amazing song. It's a musical masterpiece. I mean, I understand, I've heard this song so many times in my past. I've always heard Supper's Ready this and references to Supper's Ready, different bands drawing inspiration from it in their own music and in their own epics that they write. But it wasn't until I actually listened to it that it clicked for me. I understood it. This is just one of those songs that it hits you on a different level. Once you start playing it, I find it absolutely impossible to not let it finish its whole way through. And it really would be a disservice to not let it finish the whole way through if you did put it on. So one of the things that I really enjoy about this song in particular in relation to a lot of epics of the same length in the 20 minute plus range is that this song begins immediately. There's no long build up of like atmosphere or you know what I mean, like how a lot of long songs will have that build up. Their build up isn't done through some ambient noise that rises into a harder melody. Their buildup is done through the songwriting and the lyrics and the eventual musical buildup, but with everyone involved. This song moves so quickly is one of the best things about it. This does not feel like a 20-minute song. It doesn't feel like it's long-winded. And that's one thing that I can say that I absolutely appreciate about this song. And I'll give you the breakdown a little bit later in this video, just like I did when I reviewed Trick of the Tail. But there is no wasted space at all on this album. No wasted space. There's no wasted moments or wasted instrumentation. Everything sounds necessary to the song. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes if you listen to a song, and maybe you like it overall, but maybe there's a section or a solo or something in there, and you just think, I could have done without that. You know, or it wasn't necessary. It felt a little bit, there's a word for it. Superfluous? I don't know, man, that's not the word. Hold on, I'm gonna find it. Let me get the word. Superfluous? Is that how you pronounce the word? I'm sorry. Vocabulary lesson. I'm sorry. Superfluous. Nothing sounds superfluous or excessive. Everything that they wrote in this song works towards the whole. And that's one thing that I think makes this song so memorable, is that for all the differences musically in the song, for all the different ideas that are going back and forth, the different sounds, everything just works so perfectly. It begins on a beautiful yet strange note, slightly unnerving. And what I find really interesting about that is that it starts off that way, but then we get a little reprieve kind of in like as the verse goes on, and it kind of builds back up as the song goes. This song really is about build up, but it's done so subtly and so interestingly. Like I said, I really am not going to have many specifics to say on this song, but it's perfect. Let's get into my favorite part, the part that I have to put a little bit of work into. The best performance, my favorite lyric, my favorite moment in the song itself, my favorite section, since this song as a whole, it does have different sections. What are my favorite sections? Maybe my least favorite. And then at the end, I will give you my total PPS, which is what I've named my pleasure per second, which is when I take the total time and I take the time that I don't like I dislike certain parts of the songs, I get a percentage out of that, and that will give you my total PPS percentage, or basically I guess you would say an album rating, if you want to simplify it. When it gets to the best performance, or my personal favorite performance, this was really hard because everyone on this song really brought it, really had a moment to shine. They all contributed so much power to this whole song. But I have to give the star performance, or my favorite performance, to Peter Gabriel. I absolutely have to. Now, you may think it's obvious because he's the lead vocalist. Maybe he's the part that stands out the most, you know. My runner-up was actually Steve Hackett. He has such beautiful melody, such beautiful playing throughout this song, that he really stands out just amazingly. I had to give it to Peter Gabriel because as I was listening to the album, of course, I do like Peter Gabriel as a vocalist. He has an excellent voice, excellent feeling and passion and emotion in his voice. But it was really on this song that I felt he really mastered every single aspect of his voice. And the unnerving to the happy and the fun. And then, of course, the final time when he belts out New Jerusalem. I mean, what a climax. What a raw power, a raw talented climax that is. I love the soft tones in his voice here. There's a hint of sadness in it. It's just funny. I like, yeah. This song, I would say that this song is what really sells me on Peter Gabriel and really makes me like look at him like a powerhouse of a vocalist. And of course, Apocalypse. I mean, this is Apocalypse in 9/8 is like the moment of the song where everyone is just going 120%. But like I said, Peter Gabriel really took it away from me in this whole song. He is my best performance, or my favorite performance in Supper's Ready. Now, let's move on to my favorite lyric of the song. So this was actually pretty hard. There were a few that I was kind of bouncing around on what really captured me. And on this section, I look more at the words. I do look at the delivery of the words, but this is strictly for the favorite lyrics, so I have to look at the words a little bit more. I have to go with near the end of the song. Can't you feel our souls ignite, shedding ever-changing colors in the darkness of fading nights? Like the river joins the ocean, as the germ in a seed grows, we have finally been free to get back home. I thought that this lyric was so beautifully written. I think that this lyric was so beautifully written, so beautifully delivered. This is the true release of the song. After the long, beautiful, climactic, just winding journey of a song in Supper's Ready, these are the lyrics in which the couple in the story, after they go through this, they find their release. They find their way back home. Can't you feel our souls ignite? They feel renewed. They feel something inside them on fire. Shedding ever-changing colors in the darkness of fading light. They've had so many colors that they went through. They went through so many different musical sections. They went on this journey, this adventure. All these ever-changing colors, you know, all these different directions that they were pulled in. Finally shedding that. They're finally getting out of that. Like the river joins the ocean. Like the germ in a seed grows. We have finally been freed to go back home. When you think about a river that eventually leads or segues into an ocean, and then it leads into the ocean and it just opens up. Typically peaceful, it's this feeling of release, you got out of it, whatever it was. You're out of the constraint and you're back into this wide open space. It's a beautiful image here in the lyrics, and I think it works very well with what's going on in the music, as this is the climax of the song. I have to say the delivery of these lyrics is so powerful. And not only is it powerful just in his singing and his delivery, but it's reassurance that I think just helps sells further the actual message of this couple. Now, as for my favorite section, if we were to break this song down into its intended parts and its different titles and its different movements, the same thing. This was actually really hard to do because I enjoyed every single section as a whole and everything works for the song. But, if I had to choose one, my runner-up for the song was Willow Farm. I love Willow Farm. I don't know how everyone else feels about it. I love Willow Farm. It is just so bouncy. It's so fun. I love the way it begins. I love the singing and the mood that precedes it with the ambience of Gabriel's voice and his singing, which I had talked about a little bit ago. But I don't know. I love Willow Farm. I love it. It's just fun. But that is not my favorite section in the song. That was the runner-up for my favorite section in the song. My favorite section absolutely has to be Apocalypse in 9/8. First off, the build-up into it is amazing. But then, come on. This dirty riff just hits you in the face, and the singing becomes more intense. Everything from this moment into the song, and I love the instrumental part of this section as well. Geez, it's a mind blower. But everything from this song preceding this section is this nice, relatively pleasant build-up into this strong, powerful, and relatively heavy for Genesis section. The time signature is really interesting to listen to. The riffing is heavy and nice in the back, but this keyboard sound, I love it. It's you can just picture this apocalyptic imagery going on in your head when you listen to this. And I think that is my favorite section. Like I said, the whole song is strong. This isn't a discount to any of the other sections, but if I had to choose one, it would definitely be Apocalypse in 9/8. My next category is going to be my favorite moment of the song. Now, out of all of these things that I've done, this was actually the hardest one. This was actually the hardest thing to figure out because there were so many moments that I really enjoyed. So, my runner-up would be the farmer looking after the farm, the fireman looks after the fire, because this is kind of like the first climax of the song, the first release of a build-up into the next section. And it's just so well done. I love the anticipation that it leaves you between those lines. My next runner-up was from A Flower. Well, you know, when he says a flower and then it leads into Willow Farm. Same thing. It's just a nice moment right there from what precedes it into what it builds into. Just sounds great. If I had to choose one favorite moment for myself, what I really, really loved in this song, it would be the section from 14:19 to 15:16, which if you don't know, is this. This flute solo, which is basically the calm before the storm of Apocalypse, is just so beautiful. It's so peaceful and relaxing. It's a nice build-up. It's the guitar in the back besides it. It's just so beautiful. That's basically the interlude between the first half of the song into the second half when it gets heavier, when it becomes more climactic. That's the rest period between these two halves of this beautiful song. And I just think the tranquility of that piece, of that set piece in the song, is just absolutely like alluring. It's just beautiful to listen to. There's just something very charming, very innocent about it before what it leads into. Now, I'll post it in the video here so you guys can see it visually on the screen. But like I said with my PPS, my total pleasure per second, I don't know how I came with that. That's when I listen to every song with my stopwatch. And anytime that there's a section I dislike, I start the stopwatch, and then when it ends, I stop the stopwatch. So that way I get the total number of seconds in the song that I don't like. So in the total of Supper's Ready, there's 1,386 seconds. There were about 16 seconds that I didn't like, which means I liked 1,370 seconds, which when you break it down into a percentage, leaves me with my total liked or my total PPS at 98.9%. Now, I don't know about you, but that's pretty high. That's there's no higher praise besides the extra 1.1% that I could do to make this perfect, but it is a perfect song. I mean, I was nitpicking when I did this, you know? So if you're wondering about the parts that that I had ranked maybe a little lower than 100%, it was a few seconds in section 3, which is Incontin and Itzicon and their band of merry men, and then just a little bit in Willow Farm. Like I said, really just nitpicking, but overall, I think that this is a perfect song. It's an absolute monument in the progressive rock world and really in the world of music. It's a beacon of what could be if all these musicians with so much individual talent really combined them and came out with a masterpiece like this. I mean, there's no other words for me to say. I really do appreciate you guys watching the video. I sincerely appreciate you following me through my listen of this album, and of course, hopefully in the future with many more, and many more songs just in general. If you did enjoy this video, please share it. And my Foxtrot video is out at the same time as this, so please, by all means, go watch that video if you want to know my final thoughts on the rest of the album. You're all fantastic. I really enjoy all of you in the community, in the comments, and talking to you guys in the discussions. You can join me on Twitter. You can join me in the comments down below. Let me know if you have any other thoughts about this song. If there's a section or so that you don't like, if maybe you don't think it's as perfect as maybe I think it is. But I'm very curious to hear who's your star member, what's your favorite lyric, your favorite performance, your favorite section. I just want to know everything. But regardless, I will see you all in the comments down below. Have an awesome night. Thank you so much. Bye.